lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is a Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday. Normally, we're at 8:30 a.m. Pacific, but we're actually at 8:30 Central today. And as you can see, we're clearly not in studio. We're live at the SPI Rendezvous here in Nashville, Tennessee. I got Mike Mikulik with me, and then and Joe Chandler just sat down as well. So what's up, guys? How's everything going down this beautiful, morbidly humid day?
It is very humid here today. A little sweaty here.
Dude, we don't get this at all in Arizona. Like nowhere near this. I swear. It's insane. I haven't felt this since back in Wisconsin.
Oh, it's ugly, man. It was really humid yesterday as well. I'm not used to the stuff.
Yeah.
My West Coast body doesn't do well with humidity.
I know. Mine either at all. So what is Rendezvous? I want to jump in on this because, like, you know, as an agent with SPI and everything, you know, like this was kind of one of those benefits that I didn't really know about or even really think about for the agent world. Like what are the resources that are out there? So what is Rendezvous?
I'm going to let Joe answer. They're going to give Joe the mic. Joe's going to be the one that's going to explain Rendezvous and how important it is to SPI and to our agents.
Well, Rendezvous is the annual gathering of SPI. We bring in agents from all over North America, and then our executive staff and key members of the administrative staff come in, and we spend some time together celebrating successes over the past year, rewarding those who have had specific achievements, and then educating them about the industry and giving them our ideas of what needs to happen in the coming year.
So I think that's on top of everybody's mind right now, whether you're an agent with SPI or not. Is kind of like what's really going on out there in the market. I was talking to, actually, he was my first boss in the industry the other day, and he's been in trucking for about 40 years. And he said, this is by far the most challenging market that I've seen in my career. And, you know, because I was explaining to him some examples, because like when we're out there, you know, we're wanting to meet up with people in person. We want to go and just shake their hand, let them know this is what we are and what we do. And, you know, we've onboarded a couple of new customers here recently. And what it used to be, at least a few years ago, is you'd get a shot to like actually move a load quick. Now it's almost like the whole sales process starts all over again once they're onboarded and once you're able to start bidding on freight with them. So it's like, to me, it's almost, I think it's back to the fundamentals. It's back to how business was done while leveraging technology and everything out there right now.
Well, I think the market's changed, but you know what hasn't changed? It's still a relationship game. And I think you can never put enough importance on customers want to deal with people that they like and they trust. And I think shippers nowadays are challenging, you know, their brokers to be able to educate them on what's going on in the market and help them find different solutions that are going to enhance their supply chain. And those are the conversations they're expecting to have with brokers now. Yeah. So the process is professional. Be professional. Do your research. Find your niche. Find out, you know, areas in the market that's important to shippers right now and work on that. And canned emails, canned phone calls, they don't work anymore. You got to be creative.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, you know, I think like, because this is one of the things that we were talking about a while ago, like, because I'm big on site visits. I want to go and sit with somebody and talk to them in person, because I feel like it's really the only way to separate yourself right now, because most people do canned phone calls, canned emails. They want to just stick with that. But from my perspective, you got to get out there. And if somebody's never done a site visit before, how do you guys work with that?
You know what's interesting? A lot of our agents, because they work from their home office, for them it's challenging to get on the road and to see their customers, because they're dealing with their freight on a day-to-day basis. Like they're the sales team, they're the operations team, they're making cold calls. So for them to get out of the office, see their customer is a challenge. But I will say this, with our agents that have gone out and seen their customers face-to-face, been able to break bread with them, been able to sit down, meet some of the other team members, every single time they have come out of there with more business, and they've uncovered opportunities that they never even knew existed. Yeah, I think there's so much importance to seeing your customers on site.
No, I really do. And it's something that I want more people to really start adopting, right? Because it's like, I don't withhold any information of the stuff that we're doing, like what I'm doing that works out there, because I want to just benefit the industry at the end of the day. And I've seen such an exponential shift in mentality from anybody who we call. We're like, hey, we're local. Can I just stop by? Can I just come by, drop a business card off, essentially, so you can see I'm a real person?
Yeah.
And really, I think that's the only real separator right now, because it's like I'm out there looking at what people are posting for rates and everything else, and rates are in the can for the most part, right? And and you see it out there. Like, I was just breaking down an article yesterday, and how like Warner Logistics, and I want to preface this again, I'm not picking on Warner Logistics, but they lost a couple $1 million in Q1 in just their logistics division. So I talked to everybody about how a lot of these larger operations, when times are slow like this, they bid for volume only. They're not bidding to necessarily make money. Now, a lot of these larger companies can do that because they have the cash to burn, and they're more about preserving the freight than anything in the long term. And I think, like, that education piece is because, like, that's really what you're up against out there. But not every customer operates that way. Not every customer wants that style of relationship.
You know what I think it's interesting with customers, and one thing, this is a good thing to talk about. Respect customers' loyalty.
Yeah.
Like, when you go after a customer and you're going after his biggest lane, what are the chances he's going to give that to you? He doesn't know you, doesn't trust you, haven't proven yourself to him, and he's got loyalty with who he's using right now. Respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. Those are the kind of customers I want to deal with as well too. But I think, when you find those small pieces and slowly build on something small, and over time the relationship grows, and then you're awarded some of those bigger lanes, and the relationship with that account has expanded.
I think one of the biggest challenges that sales reps face in today's day and age, especially, is that instant gratification, right? Like, we can go anywhere. Like, all three of us are drinking coffee right now. We didn't have to fight for the cup of coffee. If we want room service, we can just get it ordered to our room. So there's really no fight for those results. And I think that bleeds over into our professional lives a lot more than people think, because, again, I talk about this often. Nobody needs help on Dallas to Atlanta or Atlanta to Chicago. Nobody needs help on that. So why are you selling on the fact that you can move that freight? Because, again, I want those customers who initially tell me, hey, we've been working with the same providers for about 10 years now. Perfect. That is the customer that I want to fight for in the long term, because they value working with people in the good times, the bad times, and everything else. And you need to uncover that in the prospecting phase.
100%. And don't push it. You tell the customer, I respect that you're loyal. He's going to be like, it's going to make him take a step back, go, wow, this guy's got some depth to him.
Mm-hmm. No, that's exactly it. So how are you guys out there? I'm trying not to sound biased being a part of it all, but like, if somebody, a newer agent, or somebody who's, because like right now with non-competes kind of seemingly going out the window, it's not official yet, but there's a lot of people out there now who are going to be naturally looking to go try something new. And they might be like, what, why not go and bet on myself? Why not take that book of business that I already have? I'm already working with these customers, and go out and start as an agent.
I think they should.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, but it appears to me that the government's overstepped its bounds, and that it's really a purview of Congress. However, if it goes through, then I think everybody should step out on their own. And somebody like SPI does all the back office things that they're used to where they were working before, and then all they have to do is what they were already doing, servicing their customers. And we provide them all of that support, but then they get a huge commission instead of a small salary.
So, because I used that example the other day, because what I think a lot of people don't really think about is how expensive, even to be an agent, like, it's expensive to operate, right? Because you need to do certain things. And, especially with the freight that we move, our customers, they need cranes, they need forklifts brought to certain locations because they don't have them on site. And I've used this example a few times. Like, every time we've called client cares are like, who do we need to pay? What do we need to do? Obviously, like, we're invoicing our customers and get it back, but you guys are taking all of the cash There we go. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, now we're good. You gotta love technology. No, it was what we were talking about was with us renting forklifts and cranes and everything for certain job sites, like having you guys take that cash flow burden off of us. So it's like, as an agent, we can preserve our cash flow.
Exactly. That's that's one of the many benefits that a company like SPI offers for agents.
Yeah, and I think like that, because it's almost an overthought when you're working for, like a larger company, and then you want to jump out on your own and start doing your own thing. You don't think about cash flow. You don't think about back office. You don't think about any of that stuff because you've never had to actually deal with it, right? Because you've always just had your TMS and you've sold, right? And I think that the majority of people, is that something that is like a learning curve for a lot of agents right away? Is like when they first come to you guys and they're like, I didn't know that there was, a claims or insurance or anything else, and I was just able to always just operate.
A lot of the questions come down to that. You know what? We're finding a lot more questions from potential agents that are coming on board is asking about our credit score and our financial history. I think a lot of agents or, brokers who are in this market are scared that a lot of companies are facing financial distress and they're going to be going out of business or face some challenges. And for them, they're looking for a place that has financial security, financial backing, so that they can look and play for the long game in this industry.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's actually was a point of concern with one of the site visits that I did earlier this year. Wasn't a concern about SPI, but they brought that up. They're like, hey, we've heard from our old providers here in the last year, like they're out, right? Like they have to cease operations and they're jumping. And, that was one of those value adds right there where I'm like, hey, no, we're good. Like, we're backed by SPI from a full perspective. We're fully insured, bonded, everything that you could possibly need out there. And we're not going anywhere. And I think like that is where a lot of shippers are also starting to look as well from the very early prospecting phases. Have you guys seen that? Like, are shippers requesting our financials now to kind of see?
They asked the question. They haven't asked for physical financials, but they asked the questions about, years of service and business. A big thing they're asking is our days to pay the carriers too. And that's one thing we've prided ourselves in. James was just posting to our team the other day that we're like 28 days to pay carriers.
Damn.
Which I think is great. And carriers are looking at that too. They're looking for financial security.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something on the minds of people, and they should be asking those questions.
No, they really should, right? Because, I mean, you see that all the time. I mean, because obviously double brokering is at everybody's mind right now. Double broker, fraud, everything. And I think that, taking those additional steps to make sure, like, when a carrier accepts a load from SPI, A, they know it's SPI, B, they know they're going to get paid, and then the ease of working with a company like this overall, because, again, startups are what they are, but this is kind of the times when a lot of the established businesses really start to separate themselves if they're applying their core strengths about what got them to this level.
I totally agree. And I think shippers should be asking brokers what their carrier vetting process is, having them explain it. I think there's a lot of different tools out there. And I think there's a lot of companies that are probably not vetting carriers in the way that they should. So I think shippers should be asking that. They don't want to be stuck with a load that's held hostage or a load that's stolen. Like, you think about it, a load gets stolen. What's all the background from there?
Yeah.
Customer's got to go and, remanufacture the product. He's got a customer now that's unhappy that he's got to deal with. So when you back up and figure out what's involved with a load that's stolen or taken hostage, you know what? You want to make sure that your brokers are vetting their carriers and having the tools in place to vet carriers properly.
No, and that's something that I think, like, the investment in that area of your business needs to happen as well, right? From a vetting procedure, whatever you do, like, because I'm almost, I don't want to say I'm shocked, but I'm almost alarmed by the amount of people that I'll speak with, and they're like, we don't vet carriers. We just look at their MC and then we assign them to the load. And some people don't even use a broker carrier or a highway or a carrier assure or carrier 401. They don't use anything, and it's like, as a shipper, and that's another thing too. We're not talking about small sums of money. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cargo value. That's just the value of the cargo. That's not the resources and the manpower that's required to process that claim and everything else and even find that freight.
Well, I mean, and some of these small brokers in particular, they're betting their entire existence over that. They would have to file bankruptcy over a claim. And one of the comments that I make is, if you get cocky, you think I've been doing this forever, and you ignore the changes in the industry. 2024 is not 2019. The fraud is unbelievable, and you get cocky, you're going to get burned.
Yeah, and they're adapting too, right? So it's almost like the fraud, all of the because like I talk about this often. The thing about criminals, you guys, they don't care about the law, right? Like they don't care. They'll find a way, and they're already adapting. They're going to other avenues out there to try and take people's identity, change their financials and everything else, so they can go and siphon that money out of there. And I think knowing what SPI does from that perspective to protect the carriers that are hauling that freight, because most small businesses are 30 days away from closing every 30 days, right? Like they need their money. They need to get paid for that. And then any extension of those payment terms potentially puts a trucking company out of business. And then especially if they do fall victim to double brokering or fraud or whatever that looks like, then they're not getting paid at all, or at least by the time that they could find out who actually is the cargo owner, they're done, because the bank doesn't care. Like you can't go to a bank and be like, hey, I had this fraudulent situation happen to me. The bank's going to be like, you're done right now. Give us the keys to your business.
Exactly.
So I want to kind of get back, get back to Rendezvous a little bit here. I want to, talk about the event in particular. What could an agent or a potential agent expect on coming to this? What are we going to learn over this next couple of
Well, we have several things. First of all, we hope that you will find other agents that you can operate with, that you're no longer a standalone. You've got a team around you, not just our executive and administrative staff, but you've got other agents in the same business, and you need some help. You need some advice. You've got somebody that you can reach out to. We're going to provide instruction, and again, the top issues on everybody's mind this year are the economy, artificial intelligence, technology, and fraud. And we're going to cover those topics with our agents, and then we're going to spend some time patting them on the back and showing them how much we appreciate their business.
So, speaking of the economy, like the feds are not lowering and not making any changes to the interest rates and everything here. Have you seen something like this before, Joe? Like this current economic environment in regards to freight over your career?
No.
You've never seen this?
This is very unusual, and normally the cycle would have turned more quickly in terms of freight. But and you were at the TIA in Phoenix. You heard the same speakers I did, that they've never seen carriers be able to hang on this long.
Yeah.
They're just hanging on by their fingernails, and that's another reason it's so important that we vet carriers properly. And but once the capacity eventually falls out of the market, we'll see a return to a more balanced environment.
Yeah. I think that, as much as I love seeing people stay in business, that's inevitably what needs to happen. Is there has to be a reduction in it. I think the easiest way to explain it to anybody is it's economics 101. It's supply and demand. And the supply of trucks and the supply of capacity providers in general, it's very high. The demand for freight has not really increased at all. And I think that it's going to be, just with the fact that interest rates are staying high, with the fact that, high in comparison to what they were, and I think like it's inevitable if people aren't smart with their cash, because the one thing that I pay attention to more than maybe some do is credit card default. Credit card balances are like at an all-time high right now. So if you think about it, like I learned in business early on, use a credit card for all your business expenses, because let Chase Bank or Citibank deal with the money from that perspective. But I pay it off every single month. And that's not seemingly happening out there. And you can't just continue to finance your entire operation for so long. And I think like that's a very real scenario that is going to be coming to light here. I don't know when, but unfortunately people go out of business. And I think that for the overall freight market as a whole, for there to be any real noticeable changes, it's going to come at the expense of people losing their businesses.
Yeah, I agree. Unless we decide that we're going to forgive credit card debt like we have student loan debt.
Yeah,
I don't see that happening.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. Dang, it is getting so bright. I don't. I know yeah, we're washed out. It's all good. We can use the audio from all of this. So with from a technology perspective, because I think that that's another large component of what we're seeing out there in the industry right now. How does SPI leverage technology without removing what you talked about, the relationship part of it? How do you not out technology relationships?
Well, I think a lot of people are adopting AI, and they're replacing human intelligence with artificial intelligence. And we believe in human intelligence plus artificial intelligence. So we've got AI plus HI, and it makes our people more efficient, and it takes away the routine, humdrum jobs part of their work and allows them to do the important part of their stuff more efficiently.
Yeah. And I think like that's one of those things where I'm about technology to a point, right? Like I want to automate everything I can except for the person that picks up the phone. I always want that. When anybody calls me, I want a real person to answer the phone. I don't want a bot to answer the phone. I don't want any of that stuff to happen. And I think like, at least from my perspective, like I'm all about tech, but I want to create jobs. I don't want to take jobs away. And I think like that's inevitably and that's kind of what I got the takeaway with the AI conversation at the TIA earlier this year is it's like, I mean, I don't want to see anybody lose their job at the expense of advancing certain areas of technology. And I think like that is honestly one of the bigger threats that is out there is the automation factor of why do they need any of us? Like, right? Like we're getting that, like, I know like self-driving trucks are light years away from perspective, but at the end of the day, that's a real threat out there. It's only a matter of time before AI starts painting houses and hanging sheetrock and everything. It's only a matter of time unless there's some safeguards that are put in there, I think.
I still think when push comes to shove and someone has an issue, they want to talk to somebody live on the phone.
Yeah.
But didn't they use that example at TIA in the AI discussion? They talked, you know what, a plane can fly itself through computers, but we feel a lot more comfortable if there's a pilot sitting in the seat.
I agree. Wholeheartedly agree with that statement. And it's true, right? Planes have flown themselves for a very long time, but I'm not boarding a plane unless there's two pilots that walk into that cockpit.
Exactly. If there's a problem, we want to know that there's somebody there that can take controls, even though the plane knows exactly what to do in that situation.
Yeah. And I think like, from a freight perspective, like we're there. And I think like because I think like that's another almost target market out there for brokers to go after in the smaller shippers, the small to mid-sized shippers, is they don't have a big tech budget. And for us to be able to bring that down to them, just like we work with shippers who we just auto create all of their BOLs for them. That saves them 15 minutes every single time when we just do that.
And I think that's why brokers will always exist, because brokers are the ones that are investing in technology. I mean, Joe's made the statement before, you give $1 million to a carrier or a broker, the carrier is going to invest in trucks and equipment to service his trucks, whereas a broker is going to invest in technology. And shippers are looking for technology. That's where the value comes in.
Yeah, and I think like that's another angle that more brokers should be taking kind of moving forward is the technology that we invest in, benefit the shipper, but benefit the small trucking company as well. What can we do? Like, it's not our responsibility to run their business for them, but what tools can we invest in to help them be more efficient, right? Is it with lane notifications and making sure that, hey, let's reach out to them every single time that we have that load that they did for them, try and help them bring automation down to the 1 to 2 truck operations to keep them running.
Yeah, and those 1 to 2 operations for the carriers, they don't have a sales team. So, I mean, them partnering with a broker makes a lot of sense, because they're partnering with someone who's going to be selling for them on their behalf. And that's where the relationship between that carrier and broker goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and I talk about this often. The only real way to fight fraud is to use the carriers that are already set up and vetted in your system. Stop going out Stop trying to source new capacity every single time. Like, obviously, I understand just as well as all of us do here at this table that it needs to happen, but like, does it need to happen every single time? I don't think so. Like, you need to have those conversations with those drivers.
Well, shippers are getting smart. They know load boards exist, and they're actually asking questions. I don't want to see, if I give you a lane that all of a sudden it's being posted on DAT or on Truck Stop. I want you to have your vetted carrier base that you guys are going to use.
Yeah.
I don't want one and done carriers coming into my facility.
No, and that's exactly it. And I think like that's another great separator that's out there is shippers notice. Shippers notice the same logos on the trucks showing up and what brokers are sending them in and everything. And I think like as it progresses into a carrier's market and shippers are becoming even more and more selective on who they work with, it's those little things. It's those things like you talked about, man. It's that relationship thing. They need to know that the people that they're working with, that they trust them with all of that freight is doing something different from everybody else. Because otherwise, why would a shipper want to work with you if you're just going to post loads like everybody else and send in any random trucking company?
Absolutely. There's no value.
Yeah.
No value at all.
Well, hey, you guys, that's it for today. We're already wrapped up on time. I'm really looking forward to tonight in the welcome reception and getting to see all the agents and everybody that I've interviewed on this show over the years and being able to meet some of them in person for the first time. I'm really looking forward to this.
That's going to be a big night for you, man. And I'm excited for you and Angelo coming to Rendezvous, meeting the people. You're gonna get a feel of the culture of SPI. Like, you already have an idea of it. You're going to really see something special. So I'm excited for you.
Definitely. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys. And, not only from having my agency with you guys, but the support that you guys have shown, the media perspective and everything over these last couple of years. I can't thank you guys enough for doing that and really keeping this going. This is one of the, big drivers on why this show is where it is because of the support from you guys. So I can't thank you enough.
Well, we get our money's worth. And, we appreciate all that you do for the industry, Chris.
All right, you guys. Well, hey, we will be back on Monday. Yeah, it'll be Monday. We'll be back on Monday. We'll be live in studio. As always, you guys. Oh, yeah, also one more thing. Our newsletter dropped today as well. So go to thefreightcoach.com. I'm not going to auto-register you guys, but go to thefreightcoach.com to register for the weekly newsletter. And as always, if you guys saw value in what you heard, subscribe to the show. Share it out there because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.